attorney is aware.
Press conference, but not as in.
I know he did not indicate to me if he was going to be here or not.
We've reached out.
You're the interim DA, right?
No, he is.
The DA.
Oh, you are the DA.
What's your first name? Paul. Paul Robbins. Robbins, R-O-B-B-I-N-S. Yes, sir.
You were at governor appointment, like.
I was originally governor's appointment and have since won my election.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
Was it this November?
Yes. So I've been in office a little over 2 years.
All right, everybody, you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. Good afternoon. My name is J.P. McDonough. That's M-A-C, capital D-O-N-O-U-G-H. And up here with me is the District Attorney for Sabine County, Paul Robbins. He'll be making a statement after I make mine, and then I will entertain questions like I told you about. If you don't mind, I got to put on my eyeball. On December 2nd, 2024, at or about 1400 hours, a deputy from the Sabine County Sheriff's Office was contacted by telephone, his work cell phone, by Michael C. Howard. Howard advised that deputy that he had accidentally shot his own son, Mark Randall Howard, whom he had mistaken for an intruder at his property. Howard further noted that this had occurred on the evening of December 1st, 2024, and that he had taken the body of the deceased, placed it in the front loading bucket of a backhoe tractor, and carried it to a remote area on his property and placed the body on a pile of wood and other burnable material, which had been previously set up, and then, his words, cremated his son in accordance with what he felt his son would have wanted. Deputies arrived at the location in the 2500 block of Mount Sinai Road and contacted Howard. He advised those deputies the same information and noted that the whole thing was a horrible accident. Howard also pointed out the shotgun that he claimed to have used in the incident, which was located inside one of the little structures there that they were using as a house. Deputies, of course, searched with his consent, searched the property and the buildings, trying to find Mark, make sure that Mark was missing. Mark was, in fact, missing. He then indicated to the deputies the area where he had cremated the body, which was located approximately 1.5 to 2 miles from the scene of the shooting that he reported. That location is also on property owned by Mr. Howard or his corporation. We obtained a search warrant. Deputies processed the scene along with the Texas Rangers after a search warrant was obtained, obviously, and we did recover what we believe to be body parts and bones, specifically a portion of the lower jaw or the mandible, which contained a few teeth. All bones appeared to have been burned based on the charring in the area around, but where the bones were found was heavy with soot and ash. Additional items of evidence were also recovered. There were also indications that the scene of the shooting had actually been washed or cleaned using a water hose. The remains of the deceased were transported to the Jefferson County Medical Examiner's Office, where they are now awaiting autopsy. Howard is currently being held at the Sabine County Jail on a charge of murder and tampering with physical evidence, human corpse. His bond has been set at $10 million per charge.
I'm District Attorney Paul Robbins. I'm the District Attorney for the 1st Judicial District of the state of Texas, which contains Sabine and St. Augustine County. Again, you're aware that Mr. Howard has been arrested. He's in the Sabine County Jail. He'll be afforded every opportunity any other inmate is. Likewise, I've been in contact with his attorney. We'll be moving forward, as we always are, with an indictment before a grand jury. We're looking at numerous charges, including some misdemeanor charges, but additional charge to murder and to the desecration or mishandling of a corpse but also tampering with evidence of the actual crime scene. So we'll be moving forward in the days to come. The Sheriff's Office is doing an excellent job in conjunction with the Texas Rangers of doing this investigation. That's being within the oversight of the Chief Investigator for the DA's office, Terry Maston. He's working closely with them, providing support, providing information and guidance from the District Attorney's Office. We're working well in conjunction on this and hope to be moving forward with the investigation very quickly.
Do we have any questions?
Is there any timeline on the court proceedings on that?
No, sir.
No, sir. No timeline available on that just yet.
Can you talk about any previous calls to this property regarding?
There was some previous calls to that property. One involved the theft of an anvil some time back. There was a deputy dispatched out there. In fact, the deputy that he called on the cell phone, on his work cell phone, was the deputy that was out there Friday, November the 29th, in regards to some additional burglaries / thefts where a Kubota zero-turn 54-inch deck was stolen along with a lowboy trailer.
And I overheard you say you worked in Sugar Land for many years.
Yes, I did.
You've seen some crimes. Can you put this in perspective regarding Sabine County and just the bizarre nature of it?
It is a bizarre crime anywhere you are. I mean, just because of the nature of the event. Mr. Howard, committed this act, and then in the furtherance of that, burned the body and cleaned the crime scene, which as an investigator I would take as indicative of nefarious purposes, or for nefarious purposes.
Has the mother made any comments to the department about?
The mother was interviewed yesterday, and this, as was his eldest son.
How many siblings does this victim have?
He also has a daughter that's younger than the son.
So there's 3 total?
There's 3 total.
Or anyone else on the property besides the father and the victim?
No, just the father and the victim.
How
Did
much?
he- That's okay. Did he contact the wife and the mother before he contacted you?
That is my understanding. I do not have confirmation on that.
And he set the fire on Sunday?
We
And burned it
presume he set it on Sunday.
How much of a delay was there between setting the fire and then calling that deputy?
Somewhere in the neighborhood of 17 hours.
Can you speak to what ties Howard has to Sabine County? Why?
He is a property owner in the county.
Do we know how long he's owned property?
He's
Does he
owned
have
property
family?
he's owned property in the county for a while.
Okay. And the victim, are we going to get a photo of the victim or anything? Has the family provided anything on Mark?
I have not asked the family to provide a photograph.
Okay.
I do have a photograph of him, but it's from a source that I can't release it to you because it's not my photograph.
How long had the victim been at the home before he was shot?
If I remember correctly, they arrived either Thursday or Friday.
Did the father have any kind of criminal history at all?
I'm not going to comment on that.
Will his passport be revoked if he makes bond?
That
or
is a-
assets be frozen?
The passport will be surrendered as a condition of bond, one of many conditions.
Okay. And we know anything about assets as far as what he can spend money-wise? I know you can't run if you don't have money, pretty much.
There are no restrictions on, I have no information that would indicate that we would be going after any financials.
Can you talk any more about the son's special needs?
Mark, the victim in this incident, was diagnosed and has been diagnosed according to family with Down syndrome. He was a high-functioning, even had a job, but he did have Down syndrome.
When you say that he had placed his remains on a pile of wood, are we talking like a funeral pyre?
I did not have the opportunity to see the pile of wood before he burned it, so I can't answer that.
The entrance to his property is right next to Fairdale Baptist Church. Has anybody at the church claimed that they've seen anything?
We have not made contact. We did reach out to some people that we had information that were in the area on Monday, and they've all reported that they did not notice anything unusual.
Does he own that entire property past the gate? Is it his? So we noticed like there were 10 locks on the gate. Is all that his property, or is it right away for other people?
There are several portions of property or tracts of land. He does own several of them. The area that this event occurred is roughly 2,533 acres, I believe.
Did the calls for service that you described, you believe that maybe that played into his thought that the son was a possible intruder?
I'm not going to answer that at this point.
Do we know the age of the son? We put that on the side of press release.
20.
Has he come off remorseful at all, or does it seem like he has any resentment towards his son, if you could tell?
I have no indication, investigatively speaking, that would address that.
Do you know who Mr. Howard's attorney is?
Yes,
What's his name?
that's up for him to provide.
What's the time frame for the calls for service that you described, the prior ones?
The one on Friday?
The ones, the burglary, the theft.
Okay, the burglary occurred Friday afternoon. It was reported to the sheriff's office Friday afternoon through normal channels. In other words, called up to the sheriff's office. He contacted the deputies on the cell phone roughly a little before 2 p.m. on Monday.
And what about the animal theft? Is that also Friday?
Animal?
Is that what you said?
No, anvil, like an anvil.
Has any of that property been recovered?
No, none of that property has been recovered to date.
Is it a hunting lease also, or other people have access to that?
I'm not familiar with that. I know there's one other individual we did interview as well that had access. In fact, he was referred to as a caretaker. All right, so no further questions. Sheriff Tom Maddox thanks you for your attendance. He sends his apologies for not being able to be here. He's a little under the weather, but he wanted to make sure that we thank you for your attendance here today.
Can I ask one more question before Mr. Robbins?
Sure.
Murder is very broad, or is it going to maybe be first degree, capital, any of those things matter?
They all matter, but we don't have enough information to determine that at this point.
When could he potentially be in court?
Potentially tomorrow, potentially a year from now, or sometime in between. But I doubt it's going to be tomorrow. There's no way to tell. It's we have a rotating court system where we have 2 district judges. One district judge rotates between Shelby County, St. Augustine County, and Sabine County. The other district judge rotates between Newton County, Jasper County, Sabine County, and St. Augustine County. We had court and a plea this morning where we put a sexual predator in prison on 8 counts of continuous sexual assault of a child, and he pled to 40 years on each count. So we had a district judge specifically for that plea this morning, and I do not know what the judge's schedule is. And I don't anticipate that Mr. Howard will be back before the judge anytime before the end of the year. We just had a grand jury, I think the week before last, and so I don't anticipate another grand jury in Sabine County before the end of the year, and certainly not before the investigation is complete. So the investigation is ongoing. There's no way of telling when we'll have a court date.
When was his PC or magistrate court appearance? Has the magistrate court appearance?
Yes, he was magistrated yesterday, and the bond was set.
And, excuse me, could you tell me the condition of the body that was recovered? Was it just bones because of the burning, the condition of the body?
We found portions of bone in various states of charring. Some of the bones were very brittle to the touch, so we had to be very careful in recovering that, just because of the nature of the heat involved.
Is there any other suspects involved, or is it just Howard himself?
It's,
Just the only person we're looking at?
that's the only person we're looking at the moment. That is correct.
Mr. Robbins, with Mr. Howard being an attorney, do you anticipate he may plead or he may roll the dice and go for trial?
There's no way of telling.
Were there other pyres? We got a photo from Google Earth and also from an energy company. And I know that there was fire in Fairdale area this summer, but there's a lot of burned property very close to the residence. So you said a mile and a half away from where he was
Upwards
shot?
of a mile or 2 miles away, yes.
How many fires did you pass, or something that had been potentially burned previously on that?
Well, keeping in mind that 10 o'clock at night, when I'm driving down that trail to get to that location, it's kind of difficult to see. The next day, the Texas Rangers were out there. I had some other investigative things I needed to do pertaining to this incident because I'm under a timeline. So I can't tell you if there are any. I know that the Google Earth pictures are not up to date. In fact, in some cases, they can be years behind.
This one's I think between the summer and fall, the one
Okay.
that was captured. Will we ever be allowed access out there?
It's private property, so that would be up to the owner of the property, which is a corporation that I believe is being,
Howard owns,
that Howard owns.
Is he married to the son's mother? Are they together, or do you know?
Yeah, that's the biological mother and father of the victim.
They're
yes.
married.
Yes, they are. All right, thank you much. I will also note that this will be the only press conference we offer. If there are any additional updates relative to this matter, I will use that sign-up sheet that y'all filled out to provide an email with any additional updates. So please, before you leave, make sure your name, your phone number, and an email address. Like I said, I just need one representative from each outlet, and I'll make sure that if there's any updates coming out, that you get notified. All right? Thank you and have a good day.
Thank you, Jay. Don't forget your line. If Tom's sick, you go enjoy it.
Yeah, no, I'll get it to Tom.